Hey everyone, welcome back. Lately, everywhere I look online, it seems like everyone's suddenly become a master chef, whipping up these incredible dishes with like 5 ingredients.
Yeah, it really has taken off, hasn't it?
I mean, part of me is super intrigued, especially as someone who isn't exactly a whiz in the kitchen. The idea of gourmet, but easy, I'm in. But also, there's a healthy dose of skepticism. Like, can you really get amazing flavor with such limited ingredients?
That's what we're here to find out.
Right. So we've got a whole bunch of articles and food blogs here, all buzzing about this 5-ingredient trend. So let's dig in and see if this is culinary genius or just clever marketing.
Sounds good to me.
Okay, so to kick things off, let's talk about a recipe that really caught my eye and maybe raised an eyebrow or two. Watermelon pizza.
Okay, I see where you're going with this.
Pizza with watermelon. Is this really a thing?
It really is, and it's a great example of how these recipes play with our expectations. They use familiar ideas like pizza, but flip them on their head to create something totally new.
So it's not like a traditional pizza with toppings piled on a watermelon slice.
Not exactly. Think of it more like a really beautiful and refreshing salad, but arranged on a round of watermelon that acts as a base. It's definitely visually stunning.
Okay, I'm kind of seeing it now. But help me out here. What are the 5 ingredients that make this watermelon pizza actually work? Because watermelon and cheese don't exactly sound like they belong together.
You'd be surprised. So obviously watermelon is your base. And then you've got ricotta cheese, which brings this nice creamy texture and a little bit of tanginess to offset the sweetness of the watermelon. Then fresh mint adds a bright, fresh element and a drizzle of honey just to enhance the sweetness. And finally, to round it all out, you have a balsamic glaze, just a touch, that adds a little bit of tangy complexity and brings all those flavors together.
Okay, you know what? That actually sounds pretty amazing. But is it actually good, or is it just a pretty picture for Instagram?
It can be both. The key is to really use high-quality ingredients, especially that watermelon. It needs to be perfectly ripe and juicy.
Right, makes sense.
Because the whole thing is about those contrasting flavors and textures, the creamy ricotta against the crisp watermelon, the sweet and tangy balance.
You're making you want to try it. Okay, let's move on to something a little more, well, dinner-like. I keep seeing this miso-glazed salmon everywhere, and it seems almost too easy to be true. Like, how can you get so much flavor out of, 4 other ingredients?
This one is a classic example of how a few really powerful ingredients can elevate something simple. And in this case, that power comes from the miso paste.
Miso paste. So we're talking about, fermented soybean.
Exactly. And it brings this incredible umami depth of flavor to the salmon.
So there's more to it than just spreading some miso on a piece of fish and calling it a day.
Oh, definitely. You need a little sweetness to balance out that savoriness of the miso. Usually honey or maple syrup work well. Then a splash of rice vinegar to brighten things up, cut through that richness. And finally, some sesame seeds, which not only add a nice nutty flavor, but also make it look really appealing.
Okay, now that sounds like a really solid weeknight dinner.
Absolutely.
But let's be real. Sometimes you just need a little comfort food, right?
Yeah.
Even if it's not exactly healthy. Which brings me to the recipe I saw for chickpea cookie dough.
Oh yeah, I've seen that one floating around.
And honestly, part of me is thinking, is this some kind of health food trap? Chickpeas in cookie dough.
This recipe is all about proving just how versatile chickpeas can be. And honestly, they create this surprisingly creamy base that really does taste like cookie dough.
Interesting.
It's a pretty ingenious way to satisfy that craving, but also sneak in some extra protein and fiber.
I mean, you've got my attention. What are those 4 other magic ingredients that transform chickpeas into, a healthy-ish treat?
You'll need a little bit of sweetness, either maple syrup or honey, and then some nut butter, any kind you like, adds that richness and makes it even creamier. And then, of course, a dash of vanilla, can't forget that. And the most important part, chocolate chips.
Yeah, you had me at chocolate chips.
Yeah.
But, and maybe this is just me, but I keep imagining the texture being kind of, beanie. Is that a concern?
Not at all. The trick is to blend those chickpeas until they are completely smooth. That's how you get that creamy, doughy consistency.
Good to know. Okay, 2 more recipes to tackle, and this one has me a little, confused. Avocado fries. I mean, should I be excited? Scared? Both.
This one is all about transformation. You're taking something creamy and smooth like avocado and turning it into this crispy, satisfying snack.
Okay, now I'm definitely intrigued. So break it down for me. What are those 5 ingredients?
Well, you start with ripe avocados cut into wedges. Then you coat them in either breadcrumbs or panko, which gives you that crunch. And for flavor, you've got paprika for a little smokiness, garlic powder for a savory depth, and of course a pinch of salt to bring it all together.
So wait, you're saying I can get my avocado fix A&D, satisfy my craving for something crispy. This is a game changer. Okay, last but not least, dessert. I saw this 5-ingredient chocolate mousse, and I need to know, is this really as decadent as it sounds? Can 5 ingredients actually deliver that level of deliciousness?
They absolutely can. This recipe is proof that you don't need a million ingredients to create something truly special. The key here is using really good quality dark chocolate, and the darker the better.
Okay, dark chocolate, check. So what are those other 4 ingredients that turn this into, well, a mousse that belongs in a fancy restaurant?
So you'll need heavy cream. This is what makes it light and airy. Then a touch of sugar to bring out the sweetness of the chocolate. A little pinch of salt actually helps to balance those flavors and really enhances the richness of the chocolate. And finally, a dash of vanilla extract.
You know, I gotta say, I started this whole thing a little skeptical, but I'm pretty impressed. 5 ingredients really can create some amazing dishes.
It's pretty remarkable, isn't it?
So what do you think? What's the takeaway here? What can we learn from diving into this world of 5-ingredient recipes?
Well, I think it shows how much we crave both simplicity and creativity in the kitchen. These recipes give us that, that shortcut to deliciousness without having to sacrifice flavor. It's about understanding that sometimes using fewer ingredients can actually make something even more special.
And maybe it's a reminder that we don't need a pantry overflowing with a million things to cook something really good. Maybe it's about finding joy in the simplicity, in those 5 ingredients.
Exactly.
So what do you think? Are you up for the 5-ingredient challenge? See what you can create?
I know.
Until next time, happy cooking, everyone.